And welcome to Norwegian Simracing Channel for the Racinglab Esports Christmas special here at Laguna Seca. Very toasty Laguna Seca, 37 degrees C. So certainly the drivers won't have to worry too much about warming their tyres up at the start of the race, but certainly will have to watch out for tyre wear during the race. My name's Andy Thompson. I have Lewis Aurora in the production booth around me for this 1 hour special event in the GT3 class. Open setups with only 50% fuel, so the drivers will have to do a pit stop during this hour-long race, and it's going to be mandatory for the drivers to actually take 4 new tyres as well. So and they will be checked after the race, the top 10, that they did take the tyres and nobody's caught cheating. But it's going to be a great event. There's a lot of drivers who I recognize from other platforms that I've commentated on, so it's very good to join you all here tonight. So the format for tonight, so we have a 10-minute qualifying coming up, closed qualifying for the drivers. Expect the lap time to be around about 1 minute 20 is probably the competitive time, maybe dipping down into the 1:19s out on track, but it's certainly going to be an interesting race for sure, with some really big names in there. So you got Olive Steinbracken, the top iRacing driver, Norwegian driver in the field tonight. So here we be the one that the drivers will probably be trying to chase down, but it's going to be interesting. So Racinglab very kindly put this event on, and they very kindly donated some of the prizes. So we have 3 prizes: first, second and third. First place is a 1,000 krone gift card for the Racinglab website. Second and third place get 500 krone each gift cards as well. So buy some nice goodies to treat themselves in this festive period. I hope everyone's had a great Christmas period so far and enjoying it, and it's always good to have these little special events to get underway, but it's going to be certainly interesting here. But we're looking at qualifying now, 4 minutes into the qualifying session. Let's say it was closed, certainly looks like it was open. So see if Lewis can get us a driver just about to start his opening lap, and we can take you for a trip around the very tricky Laguna Seca in these GT3 cars as we watch Stefan Heydrich there in third place at the moment. Still got Ole Steinbracken at the top of the leaderboard, 0.2 of a second nearest rider. We'll join Cillian Livingston for a lap around this Laguna Seca circuit. So coming around turn number 1 into what is probably the trickiest corner, certainly in the beginning, as we see there, Cillian Livingston getting it completely wrong coming down the Andretti hairpin. It's like a double apex hairpin as he backs out of that corner, but we'll try and pick someone up. So it's really tricky corner, and it's going to be even more tricky off the start finish line, off the start and grid, because you're going to have all the cars around trying to dive for position on the inside coming down that Andretti. So I'm expecting a few incidents on this opening lap here as we watch Simon Braffen going around this Andretti. It's like a double apex, really need to hug that corner on the exit. Coming down here into the tricky turn 3 and 4, really got to watch your pedal applications coming through these 2 corners. Very easy to spin out wide here, and just holding off the throttle here and then getting on it using the whole of the track. Coming up here into turn number 5, another tricky one. Just got to hold the throttle a little bit to be able to make sure you don't run out wide, because as soon as you run out wide you're going to hit it. And they're very tricky part of the corner, very quick coming down turn number 6, going on to the rail hill straight up into the very world famous corkscrew. Really a blind corner, literally as soon as you get to the top of the hill, on the brakes, hug the left hand, then the right hand coming down the hill, trying not to give it too much throttle coming down there, or otherwise you will see a few cars spinning tonight. Here as you come back around down through here into turn number 10, and then you come into see the pit exit there, so that could cause some problems to the drivers, certainly speeding in the pits, because it's a very narrow pit lane and very short as well. Before we come around the last corner, as you can see there, quite a few of the cars in the background there are slipping out, so the cars are going to have to watch their throttle application. And this is the big thing about this Laguna Seca circuit, is the you've really got to be gentle on the throttle application, trying to keep the speed up. And certainly in these GT3 cars, it's going to be extremely tricky. Normally suited to the MX5 cars, for all those that have many years ago that we did iRacing and joined iRacing was this track with the MX5. So come on, a few leaps and bounds since then, and a few more cars for the new drivers to choose from. But yeah, always reminds me of the MX5 does this track. But Grammy Soundback still at the top of the leaderboard, 0.2 of a second against Tellen in second place, Hendrik in third place, only 0.02 of a second behind second place at the moment. And you got Roger Christiansen in fourth place, sorry, around about 0.04 of a second off Helvig in third place. So extremely close for second, third, and fourth. But that 0.2 at the moment with Ollie Steinbecken at the top, certainly showing why he currently is a 9K iRacing. But big welcome to all the people in the chat. So if you want to say any shout outs there, I'm pretty sure that Lewis will help me out with the translation to get any of your shouts out there, or in Saint, then just basically say it in English if you can. Obviously my Norwegian's very poor at the moment, but I'm trying to learn, certainly as we've got quite a few of the Norwegian drivers in our very own league that we're running at the moment. But back on track, so the top 10 at the moment: Roger Steinbecken still in first place, Tellen in second, Helvig in third, Christensen in fourth, Meyer in fifth, Goddestad in sixth, Saverson in seventh, Hersong in eighth. Gemstracken just manages to get up into ninth place at the moment, and Thomas Wangen is rounding out your top 10. So the top 10 covered by 1 second at the moment, and then it jumps to 1.3 from 11th downwards. So certainly the top 10 competitive at the moment, but Steinbecken at the moment 0.2 of a second ahead of the field, and like I said at the start, will be the one that's certainly carrying that bullseye on the back of his car at the moment on his Lamborghini. It's a good spread of cars here in this qualifying session. We got the Lamborghini on show, BMWs, the Audis, the Mercedes, and we've even got a couple of McLarens as well, so some brave souls trying to treat themselves to the McLaren, and a big splattering of Porsche. But the current timing tower is dominated by the Lamborghini. Certainly been a resurgence in the latest patch with the tyre wear at the top of the field, with a splattering of Audis in the mid-pack and the Ferraris at the moment bringing up the rear of the grid. But currently coming to the end now of the qualifying sessions. I'm pretty sure that they might be able to finish out this this lap that they're currently on. But Tyvik has just jumped turning into second place at the moment, only 1/10, so getting closer to Steinbecken in first place at the moment. But I don't think anybody is going to accomplish that time. So we will probably see Steinbecken at the top of the grid at the moment. Top 10, Thomas Wangen moved up to 9th at the moment. Gemsbracken back down to 10th. Roger Christiansen up, still holding that 4th place, but such a slender lead over Anders Meyer there in 5th place. Does he manage to jump up the time? No, he doesn't, and hits the wall for good measures there. So coming to the end of this qualifying session here at Laguna Seca, and we've got an hour-long race for you to enjoy. So it's going to be interesting. There's a good angle there of the pit stop, very tight braking zone coming into there, and then a slight little chicane. So you see a few drivers hitting them walls coming into that pit lane. Certainly, if they're just closely in a close battle for the positions, we'll be seeing some. Maybe some unorthodox moves coming into that pit lane. But that brings us to the end of the qualifying session for this hour-long race here at Laguna Seca, brought to you by Racinglab's Christmas special. We've got a great race coming up for you as we just wait for the drivers to finish, and we can get you through your grid for today's race. I mean, like I said, that first corner is going to be it's going to be treacherous. It always is around this Laguna Seca. The drivers just need to be aware of that and try and give each other space, because there is so many different racing lines, certainly on that first lap, where the drivers will try to make. But here is your grid for this race. Ollie Steinbracket is your pole sitter. Stefan Hervik in second. Jarton in third. Roger Christensen in fourth, Anders Meyer in fifth, Joe Vergodestad in sixth place, Kim Savazan in seventh, Carl Frederick Hersong in eighth, Thomas Wangen in ninth, Mats Gunströmbacken in 10th, Oscar Bistrud in 11th, Odvid Miravang in 12th. In 13th, we got Gordon Hay, 14th, Lassen Sorensen, 15th, Thomas Asfag, in 16th, Eric Rossef, in 17th, Alexander Scaret, 18th, Stana Sandy in 19th, Mats Kasper Andersen in 20th. We got Odvid Bredvik in 21st, Ketil Larsen in 22nd, Christian Terversen in 23rd, Mikael Gustafsson in 24th, Matt Strand. In 25th, we got Simon Brothen, 26th, Tor Ovin Andersen. In 27th, Ole Gunnar Sturström. In 28th, Anders Andersen. 29th, Standers Losken. In 30th, Joachim Wagen. In 31st, Sam Andre Livingston. In 32nd, Kenneth Palstrud. In 33rd, Arno Verret. In 34th, Ketil Nicholson. In 35th, Edvard Bondmer. In 36th, and made a bit of a mistake, so I will call him out on that, is Lewis Aurora in the production box. In 37th, Tobin Arsford. In 38th, Mika Mikkelsen. In 39th, Linso. 40th, Agvin, and rounding out your 40-car grid, or 41 on the grid, is Fostrik Torsmanston. So a big grid, and I do apologise if I'm brutalising some of the names. Bit tricky for the English accent to just decipher what some of them are, but I will try and do my best throughout the race tonight that we are all watching. So yes, here we go. We got all the drivers out on the grid at the moment, and just waiting. Oh, we're going to have a pace lap as well, so a nice cool brisk one. I mean, it's a toasty track, 49 degrees, getting up to that sort of temperature. The tyres will be super sticky at the start, so won't have to warm them up too much in this American sun that we have here on track. But like I said, later on in the race, it may become evident, certainly the cars that are a little bit more harsh on the tyres. I'm not sure with this new patch, which tyres or which cars are a bit aggressive on the tyres. It used to be the Audi, the Ferrari was always quite aggressive on the tyres as well, but only time will tell. But like we said, there is a pit stop halfway through where all the drivers will have to change tyres, so it's going to be an interesting time. At least it's a relatively short lap here, only around Laguna Seca, so we haven't got a Le Mans style full lap ahead of us, so we should get the race in underway shortly, and it's going to be mad frantic, and the ones at the front have probably got the best end of the stick. In the mid pack, it's going to be treacherous, like I said, coming around that Andretti hairpin in turn number 2, so it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers take out that. And then you've obviously got the treacherous turn 3 and 4, so I'm reckoning turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 is where we're going to see a little bit of action. Certainly if a car is overzealous, should I say, in their ambitions to get up positions early on in this race. The top 3 are the ones with the prizes, but there is another prize from Moza Racing, the R5 bundle, that the drivers will be able to win as long as they are 6 laps by the leader. They will go into a draw as the pace car just slips off there, and now it's down to Ollie here to get this race underway. Can't really get a decent start off here, so keeps the pack super close up, and then he gets a great start there. The front 2 caught the 3rd and 4th place, sort of napping really there. Tenon and Christensen battling side by side further back, but the front 2, Sternberg and Hervig, managing to get away quite cleanly. The rest of the pack going side by side, coming down here into turn number 2, the Andretti hairpin. relatively clean at the moment, which is quite surprising for this track as the drivers all start falling into that long train that we're going to see for at least 10 minutes into this race here. So we've got Oscar Bursgood there in 9th place, coming in. Our biggest mover moved up 2 places from where he started in 11th at the moment. Further back in the field, we've got Kenneth Pistrad in 28th, up 4 places. Tobias Fosterville in 30th, up 7 places. So get some drivers getting some good traction off that start finish. I suppose starting a little bit further back, you do get that little bit of a run up. So if the drivers in front of you are caught napping, then they will certainly gain up a few places, which a few of the drivers have done in the background. So we're looking on board at the moment at Steins Logston in 27th, having a bit of a battle here with Palström in 27th. Oh, we've got a spinner there. That is Palström is just going out round and was actually a victim of that. I'm just trying to think who the other driver. I think that was Odvin Andersson, car number 52. Is the one that actually spun and caused that issue there, but Kenneth won't be reeling that one, and very easily to do as we watch a replay here. Just an easy mistake, a little bit too much. It's very unusual where he spun, I think it was. Yeah, it was coming out of the corkscrew. You normally see coming down through the corkscrew, the car getting away from yourself. Very unusual place there, coming around the rainy curve, turn number 9 to lose the car. But currently out in the lead, we got Ole Strandberg just finishing off 0.8 of a second over Hedvig in 2nd place, Tenon in 3rd, and Meyer in 4th. Christensen down to 5th place at the moment, losing out 1 place in 5th. But obviously I know him, very, very good Porsche driver is Christensen, Roger Christensen there in 5th place. As we look further down the field, Carl Fredrik Herson currently in 14th, having a bit of a battle with Sorensen in the Audi in front as they come through turn number 9, the rainy curve. As they're coming out on track, coming around the last corner here, and always a good place in, looking on the inside here, trying to push out wide, but you will lose a lot of speed. Audi should be able to pull away slightly coming down this start finish straight, having that better exit on the last corner, but they are side by side here. Sorensen in the Audi, Hersong in the Porsche on the inside, got that inside line. As you see the 2 different lines there, one's really tight, some going really tight, but Sorensen taking that wide line to try and cut back into the 2nd corner there in the Andretti. But relatively quiet race at the moment. We've got a few drivers, I think 36 have come into pits, so Simon Braffen, Kenneth Postrom, Joachim Wagen and Eric Russef. I think they've come into the pits already, so yeah, so a couple of early casualties in this hour-long race. We look at Alexander Scoret in the Lamborghini chasing down Sani there in 5th, and we've got another car. Who is that again off the right-hand side? Is that Oscar Bistrud, I think, in piling down the order. Let's have a look at what happened here. So we got Matt Strand coming up into turn number 6. Very treacherous corner. If you get this one slightly wrong, we've got an extremely slow Ferrari going on the inside that could have caused a bit of an issue. Oh, he lost it coming out. He must have lost that coming out of turn 6, trying to save it going up the rainy straight. And unfortunately lost it. Very easy to do around that corner. It's such a tricky corner because it's almost blind. You've literally just got to have blind faith when you go into that corner to get the corner stuck, as we watch Alexander Scoret here coming around again around the Andretti hairpin in P15. So making good progress at the moment, up 2 places from where he started. Oh, as we got Christian Severs, they're just having a little bit of a spin. I can see another Lamborghini in the background there, so it looks like a little bit of an incident coming around that corner. So I'm pretty sure we'll get Lewis to give us a replay of what happened between them two out on track. But Aligonas Sterstrud in 23rd at the moment. Stelly just making up 4 places from where he started, Team Slow-Mo driver, as we look at Is this Wagen? Is this? I think this is not the car, but it might be another incident. This is coming down the Andretti hairpin, I believe. Yes, that is. Oh, just loses the car and pointing back the other way. Luckily, that's not on the first lap, so he's able to get out the way, go down the pit lane, and just carry on going. Because if that was the first lap, he would have been a sitting target for a lot of other cars. Oh, as we can see there in the background, another McLaren. McLaren's not having the best of days here. I think that's probably about the third spin we've seen from the McLaren drivers. So Oddvin Anderson coming down here, down through the corkscrew. Very strange what happens here. So literally losing it before he even goes into the corner. Oh, saves it and then spins it. Wow, a few drivers having a bit of an issue with turn number 9, the rainy curve. You normally see it coming over the top down into the corkscrew where they give it too much power and then just spin it away. But you can sort of see that this corner here as well, turn number 6, coming up to the rainy straight, all the tyre marks on the outside where the drivers are getting it slightly wrong, because there's a sausage curb on the inside of that turn that if the drivers hit, it sort of puts them out off balance the car and then literally throws them out wide. So I'm pretty sure a few of the drivers would have already been succumbed to them issues with all the tyre tracks and the incidents we've seen coming around that corner. But looking at Thomas Wangen there further back in P7th, having a close battle with Salverson out on track. So we've got Teven here and Andre Mirov in 4th, having a little bit of a battle between them. A little bit up the road, you can see there just in the front, only a slight gap, but at the moment out the front, Steinbrecken got on a 2.3 second gap over the fight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment. Then a bit of more of a gap between Roger Christiansen, so might have had a slight error out on track, losing the slipstream to Miran in 4th place. Got a start then further 2.8 seconds further back is the RPC teammate driver. Then we have a couple of cars, Wangen and Salveston there in 7th and 8th, having a decent battle. Then another pocket sort of little battle between Hersong, Gemströmbacken and Miravang. So we're getting little fractures of time in between. There's like pockets of 2 or 3 drivers that are having little battles, and then a little bit of a time before the next battle. But still very early days, only 8 minutes into an hour-long race as we watch Sani here in P18th. Having the Ferrari of Odvin Breivik behind him in P19th, giving him a little bit of fought for taking on the Audi driver. But then further up the field, we got a 3-car battle here. We got a Mercedes in a Lamborghini fill-in here with Alexander Scaret, currently up 1 place. Ketil Larsen in front, up 6 places from where he started. Just looking down the grid here to see the biggest mover in the field. And it looks like it's Bent Olav Agvin in P29th, up 11 places from where he started. So a great opening start to the race for Bent there in P29th, although he won't be winning any prizes. Certainly will be up a decent amount of positions as he just gives a position there to Ketil Nicholson in front, up 5 places as well. But some big losers as well, and Eric Rosseff currently 32nd, down 16 places for Send It Racing. So he's certainly the biggest loser out on the field. We do have a couple of drivers in the pits at the moment. We got Tobias Fosterval, Martin Mikkelsen and Kenneth Palstrom in the pits at the moment. Currently been in there a severe amount of time. I don't think they've got a fast repair to use in here, so certainly some of the drivers that came off the track at the start of the race will be spending a very lonely time. But what they really want to try to do is make sure they keep within 6 laps of the leader to be in with a chance of winning that Moza R5 bundle, which sounds very nice. Let's have a look at a replay from Erling Bomer here. Where is this coming down the corkscrew, I believe? Yes, it is. Oh, it's car park at the top there between Mercedes. Oh, and yeah, I think he just got completely caught out by the fact of coming around that corner and seeing a BMW and a Lamborghini just parked at the top there and just lost sight of it there for Erling. But very strange incident. Let's have a look on board, see what Erling coming around the corner sees the Ferrari on the inside, and then all of a sudden sees another BMW. Comes down, just gives it probably a little bit too much mustard coming around that corner, a bit too much steering angle, and unfortunately hits into the wall as we see Erling just coming into the pits. There is a 20 incident limit here before the drivers do get a drive through, and then a further 10. Oh, as we see another incident here, the Audi driver just spinning around there at the top. Very easy to do. I mean, we're getting into the realms now. 10 minutes in, you know, the tires would start, you know, if we look at the temperature of what there is here today, it's into the 40 degrees. So these tires with this track will certainly be getting chewed up. Hence why probably the admins and that decided to make sure that everybody changes tires, because we all know if we do an hour-long race, we normally don't change the tires out on track, or certainly in any of the other leagues. But being forced to here to probably try and promote the good clean racing that we've had in the first 11 minutes here. So 9 laps in, currently Steinbacken has 3.7 seconds against Hedvig in second place. In third place we got Jari Teven. In fourth place we got Anders Meyer. Fifth place we got Roger Christiansen. In sixth place Jover Godestad. In seventh place we got Thomas Wangen. Kim Salvesen in 8th place, Carl Fredrik Hersong in 9th, and Mats Genström rounds out your top 10. So we've got Oscar Bistro here. You can just see the dip, and you can just see there the sausage curve on the inside. I was mentioning earlier that if you manage to hit that corner, it certainly throws the car up. But Oscar chasing down Ovid Brodvik here in P18, trying to get into that position, and good little battle ensuing between these two. Have a little bit of a stake between Matt Strand behind in P20th, so certainly Oscar just needs to look forward at the moment. Then there's a little bit of a gap. Oh, coming into the last corner there, just try to look on the inside, or they just closed that door again. So we go around here for another lap for these two drivers, trying to fight it out. Bit of a gap, a bit of in no man's land, these two. A little bit of a gap up front, and you can see there probably around about a second to the car behind. So good little bit of a battle, but pretty sure with them battling so hard, the car behind will be coming back in as we watch Eric there just avoiding Keto Nicholson coming down again. We have quite a few of these drivers getting caught out by the corkscrew. It's not really normally a setup, these GT3 cars around this track at Laguna Seca, so it's certainly an interesting one for the setups. And I wonder if the organisers thought, you know, well, let's choose a car and a track setup that's not normally common, to give the drivers a little bit of a challenge out here today. But looking at the fastest lap so far is Ole Steinbratton, a 1 minute 20.97. Everybody else in the mid 121.6. So certainly putting on the pressure at the front of the grid is Steinbratton, which you would probably expect considering he is a 9k iRacer. So expected to be there or thereabouts at the front of the grid. But that gap looks like it has come down 1.3 seconds. So Steinbratton, after bigging him up a little bit, had a little bit of a mistake. Let's have a look here. Coming around turn number 6, coming up the top to the corkscrew. Is it here that he has a mistake? Ooh. So that's where we see the loss of time. He did have 2 seconds. He's lost 2 seconds now, which may give Stefan. The emphasis in second place to try and close down that gap, but certainly with the pace that Ollie's got at the front of the field, he certainly has the power to just turn it on as and when he wants to at the moment. But they're starting to get little bits of gaps in the top 5-6 cars. You can sort of see there 1.4 seconds from first to second, then 1.1 to second to third, and then another 2 seconds from fourth down to fifth. So some gaps starting to appear, and what might do, as we see there, one of the Ferrari drivers, I think that's from the Sendit Racing team, coming out of the pit lane. It's because it's such a short track and only a 1 minute 20. You know, these back markers are really going to come into play later on in this race, and we can already see them now starting to get called up, certainly the ones that have had the incident. So I'm looking here from probably P27th back. We've had drivers are on probably a lap down. So you got Odvid Breivik, Erwin Brommer, Arno Felkov, Hans Linzo, Ben Alkvin, Simon Bratton, Simeon Livingston, Joachim Wagen, and Odvid Anderson, just to name a few of drivers that have succumbed to a few issues at the opening 16 minutes of this race. As we look on board here with Roger Christensen, currently in P5, down 1 place from where he started. The biggest mover in that top 10 is Anders Meyer in 3rd place at the moment, and in that last place for the prizes. So he really wants to make sure that he keeps himself there at the moment. But you got Yari Tenen just behind him as well, so there's certainly a battle ensuing out on track. And then you've got Rojo's currently in 5th place, bit off the pace at the moment. So the top 3, as long as they can sort of keep it clean, but saying that it's anything can happen around this Laguna Seca circuit. But Stefan's doing a cracking job, and you know, all fair play to the rear markers as well. The guys getting overtaken, just staying well out of the racing line to give opportunity and not cause unnecessarily hardship to the front running drivers. You can sort of see the timing tower, the little battles. You got 3rd and 4th having a good little battle out on track. You've got 10th and 11th there, 0.4 of a second between Gemsprachen and Miravang. Then you've got Alexander Skret and Ketil Jarson, another tight one. So we are looking at Lars Sorensen here, cutting it around. My replay is starting to play up a little bit here. Let's see if we can see. Happened to Lars Sorensen. It looks like my replay is ghosting me at the moment, so unfortunately I wasn't able to see what happened there. So try and get that fixed for you. Going back up with our 2nd place, Stefan there, still getting hounded a little bit by Anders, sorry, in 3rd place. So these two having the best of the battle at the moment, as we see Steinbrand after that earlier incident losing 2 seconds, starting to extend the gap again once more to 1.7 seconds. In 3rd place, and in 4th are the ones, 3rd and 4th, 2nd, 3rd are the ones that are battling out at the moment. They don't had a great start, but it's sort of a drop away slightly, still keeping within that 1.1 second of the 3rd place drivers there, Anders. So still has an opportunity, only 19 minutes into this session, so still plenty of time. And then we've got the obligatory pit stop strategy rounds, where you know all the drivers have to take tires, but fuel can be probably up to them. So it depends how close to the wire and how adventurous they want to do to try and save that half a second or so in the pit stop. So certainly going to be see who comes out on top in the battle of the pit stops. But out on track, it's Steinbrechen at the moment at the front of the field, 1.8 seconds, easy be able to pull away from the rest of the field. Would have been more if it wasn't for a slight issue at the moment. I mean, his best is still a 120.97. Nearest one to that, I think, is a 121.57, and that was from Yard 10 and in MB Racing Esports Nordic team, who's currently in 4th place. So near enough 6/10 of a second off the fastest lap of Steinbretten. So it's certainly his day at the moment. As we look further back, we got Oscar Biscuit in P16th in a bit of a battle with Kevin Larson and Alexander Scoret for 14th, 15th and 16th. And this is probably what you want, really, is to be in these battles, these little pocket battles, as we said, throughout the field, because there's nothing worse than being in sort of no man's land on these tracks, just merrily pottering around the track. It's always good to be embroiled in a battle, even if it is for the mid-pack races, more for pride and keeping within that 6-lap limit of the first place driver to get them Monza R5 bundle that will be drawn after the race for all those that qualify for being in 6 laps of the lead driver. So still something for the drivers to aim at, but I suppose when you look at a 9K driver, I'm not sure what the other two iRaces are, but when you've got a 9K iRacing, it's pretty much going to be fighting over the lower positions. So they're looking back at Ketty Larson's here in P15th, and Buswin, oh, he's going to lunge on the inside, just left that door open to Ketty Larson, and Oscar just said, thank you very much, I'll have that position. So a nice little move up the inside of the Andretti hairpin, and I suppose that's the way you want to do it. If you're going to get that inside line, you really need to close off that apex on the second one to be able to not get the advantage of the overspeed from the driver that's gone out wide. As we look further back up the field, Thomas Asfang here in P12 at the moment, has Sorensen behind him in the Audi, so it's certainly battle of the Audis at the moment for P12 out on track. In front of them we have a BMW and then another Audi of Gemstrom who is currently holding that P10th overall spot here. So currently 22 minutes into an hour-long race. It'll be about another 8 minutes, I would say. Maybe up to 40 minutes, I would say, for the drivers to come in for their pit stop. And that's going to be really telling, because you can sort of see the length of the pit stop. It's literally the whole start-finish line, and then it just meanders around this corner here, around turn number 1. You can see it cuts it slightly shorter and then coming out on track. And that's what the drivers need to be aware of as well, is when they're coming out of that pit lane is where the traffic is behind them, because they don't want to be putting all the hard work in now, having a really good first stint, getting a good decent pit stop, coming out of that pit lane, and then getting embroiled in an incident on the exit of that one. So really need to understand what the cars are. But there's a great field. Oh, as we see, I think that was a Lamborghini there, just stranded on the inside. Yes, I can just see him in the background there, coming around that corner, turn number 5. So a little bit of a slight mistake here. I'm not sure if it was Jarl. Was it Jarl? If it was, it's been unfortunate for him. Oh, he's had a little bit of a spin there from the corkscrew. Just manages to save it. Does lose. Is he going to lose out of position here? Yes, he does. So, unfortunately, does move behind now in Roger in 5th place, does Yari. So a slight little mistake. Even the top running drivers can have their mistakes around that corkscrew. What is what's the temperature going out there? So this is Oddvid Anderson in that McLaren. Certainly doesn't seem to be the car of choice around here. I think that's pretty much every McLaren now been involved with a slight incident out on track. A very quick car, but doesn't really like these short, twisty tracks where traction is the key, I think, at the end of the day. So we're looking at the moment, so 22 degrees, 51, so 47 degrees C track temperature. I mean, that is just baking hot. And certainly if you've been out in them sort of temperatures, the tyres just slide away from you, as we see that McLaren belching flames at the end. Just a think he is one of the back runners, that McLaren there, but it's always a fantastic car to look at, certainly with the barbecue pack add-on that it does have. As we watch him come down again through the corkscrew for around about the 19th time, so plenty of experience being gained by these drivers in this hour-long race. But Oscar Bistron again having that battle with Sorensen. So we look at another replay here of Fostervold, of Tobias Fostervold coming up to the corkscrew. Wow, okay. That's a beautiful 360 pirouette there. 10 out of 10 there for you, Tobias. But not having the greatest day at the office. I think he was trying to get out the way there, as we see another Ferrari in the background through the Andretti hairpin, getting it slightly wrong. So these tyres must be like skating on ice at the moment for these drivers. We're seeing a lot of mistakes. And it may be trying to put down too much power. Like I said at the start, it's all about the slow application of the throttle around this track. You try and give it too much beans, then the tires just spin away. Certainly in 49-degree temperature track temperature, these tires will not like being pushed to the limits, and we're already seeing quite a few of the drivers. And it's probably a good stroke of luck or stroke of genius from the admins to make sure that every driver changes tires, because it's certainly seen that we're seeing a lot of issues out here. 26 minutes into this hour-long race, not even halfway distance at the moment, and already seeing plenty of incidents, and Lewis's replay figure is going up all the time. I think he'll have a job to beat, I think, the Nordschleife that we did a couple of weeks ago, but he might be on track here tonight for the amount of replays we can get in an hour-long session. But Oscar Bistron at the moment has got the better of Sorensen, so managed to take that P13th at the moment. Just looking at the back of Thomas Asfag in 12th, so chasing down the Audi driver. And it's good to see that this latest patch in iRacing has brought more of the cars to the grids. I mean, we saw the Porsches taking command and the Mercedes the season before that, but they seem to have got the balance right, because we've got a decent spread. And I think the only car that we're not is the Dodo car, or the Ford GT. That's the only one that's not being represented in the GT3 class here. But the rest of the cars, you know, even the McLaren has got two brave souls, although not doing very well at the moment in the McLaren. Certainly the Lamborghini seems to be the car that's jumped to the top of the pile at the moment. But the Audi has made a massive resurgence, always one of them favourites on iRacing back in the day, and it's good to see it's making another comeback. And again, Strindbacken is the top Audi driver at the moment in P9. Top BMW is third place, Anders Meyer from Racelab Esports there in third, so flying the flag for the German manufacturer. But it certainly seems to be the Italian Lamborghini that's dominating at the moment. We've got 7 out of the top 10 are all Lamborghini cars. So we join back up with the leader, Ollie Steinbacken, in first place. Managed to get back out to that 3.8 seconds advantage that he had before his slight incident earlier on, around about, I think it was around about 18 minutes. So it has managed to push that lead out again to close to 4 seconds over Stefan in second place. Anders in third place at the moment, just trying to chase him down, only 1.1 seconds behind Stefan in second, so those two may come together towards end. But like I said, they've got the round of pit stops that can sort of throw anything up at the moment. And I think we do have, I'm just trying to look to see if we've got anybody who's come in recently to have sort of like a competitive benchmark time. So it looks around about 20 22 to 24 at the moment is the going rate in the pit stops, but the top 23 drivers are still yet to pit. So currently just about to roll over half race distance at the moment, and you can see Stefan there in the Lamborghini with the rather lovely livery on that car in second place, 1.2 seconds ahead of Andre in third place from the Racelab esports team. So but here we go, and this will be our first real competitive time here. So we've got the top three have all come into the pit lane. We got Ollie, Stefan, Anders, Roger, Jovan Godestad, who we haven't really talked about at the moment, is in the pits. Thomas Wangen in the pits as well. So certainly seems to be that half an hour marker is the way we can go. But y'all, there we can see is now taking over the lead of this race, but is still yet to pit after his early incident going down through the corkscrew, which has really cost him a lot of time out on track. So we can see there on the timing tower, all still in their pit boxes. Do have to change all four tyres to the drivers and then thinking. So we're looking at the pit exit at the moment. So let's have a look. 22.17 seconds for Ole Sandberg. I think the quickest out of them drivers at the moment is Stefan with a 21.92. So a great pit stop there, saving probably up 0.3 of a second. So it's not going to really eat that much into Ollie's lead that he had. As we all know, 3.8 seconds was the gap there. So the top two drivers still owe us a pit stop. Mats Grønsvakken from 10th place, currently in second, 21 seconds behind Ollie Brandsen, who was our leader before the round of pit stops, but will be our leader again once the two gentlemen in front of him take that pit stop. And as we say, Yari's come in to the pits. Does Mats come into the pits on this lap? Let's have a look. Or does he manage to push out another lap? I think he has. So Mats Grønsvakken should take over the lead, or is he going to come in? Let's see. Nope, he does decide to pit in what was 10th place. So let's see where he comes out in the round of pit stops. But yeah, that's pretty much everyone now. In fact, Ketia Larson still needs to give us a pit stop, currently riding around in P6, but as if by magic he comes into the pits there. That's pretty much all our drivers have done it. So within the space of 2 laps, pretty much the whole field. And there is the RPC sort of a train that we can see. Roger in 5th, Joe Godestad in 6th, Thomas Wangen in 7th. The 3 RPC teammates there in flying unison for that just outside of that position for the prizes in the top 3. Currently 1.9, but could have a good opportunity here, having his teammates of Godestad and Wangen behind him to try and push him along and bridge that gap to the 4th place. But then we look there, 10 seconds is the gap between 3rd and 4th. So yeah, that's a big gap now sort of produced between 3rd and 4th. You can see they're 2nd, so Ollie has managed to breach out another 0.4 of a second over Stefan in 2nd place. Anders Meyer there in 3rd, still in the hunt for that 2nd place overall, but I just can't see past Ollie at the moment. Even if he does have a slight mistake, he can just turn on the afterburners and is able to get away. So certainly the battle here is probably for pride between Stefan and Anders. And what they don't want to do is get embroiled, because as we said at the start, 2nd and 3rd place get the same prize of the 500 krone gift card from Racinglab to spend at their stores. So don't want to battle too hard to try and take themselves out, but I'm pretty sure Yari and Roger behind them would gladly take these two trying to fight it out, if not to close that gap down. I mean, it's a massive gap, 11.5 seconds. I mean, I don't know how they've managed to get that sort of a gap. It was around about 4 seconds, so I'm not sure if an incident has taken place. I mean, I'm looking at the pit stops, and they're all relatively all around about 21 seconds, 22 seconds. So it's certainly not been there, but certainly the front three have been able to just leapfrog away from Yari in 4th place at the moment. You can see it's still there, Roger in 5th forwards. We see one of the Ferraris there going extremely wide as Jarl's just trying to close down that gap. It's not getting any closer. If anything, it's getting further away. 11.6 seconds. So we've got Honor Fakat here, so coming up to the corkscrew as the Yari behind, just trying to overtake him and just overshoots the corner, really. I think he was just trying to look in his rear view mirrors, just lost his braking zone, which is really easy to do on that corner, because if you can get somebody going up there, Lewis, you can actually see, you can't see the corner, so it's all about where your braking marker is. And if you've got a car behind you that's coming up to lap you, would get your blue flags, you could quite easily lose your marker and see exactly what happened there. Literally just goes straight over the corner. It was lucky that Yari wasn't turning into that corner before the driver went across it. Otherwise, he could have been taken out there. But easy mistake to make coming down into that corkscrew. But looking down the field, we got Alexander Scaret in P15. It looks like a bit of a big battle here between Thomas Arsvag, Alexander Scaret, Anderson in 16th, and Sorensen in 17th. So these 4 cars having a real good battle for that 14th position overall. Currently, Alexander Scaret in P15 is probably the closest one to try and make that move over Thomas Arsvag for 14th at the moment. Thomas is around about a second behind Kjetil Larsen, but you can sort of see the timing task. So you look from the top down, the top 3 are away. Then you've got 4th all the way down to 7th. That are away. Then you've got Hersong and Samson in 8th and 9th. Then a big gap again, 12.8 seconds to Gunstrom in 10th, who's got Otto Miravan quite close for company. Then you've got Bisrud just behind in 2.5. Then another large gap to Kjetil Larsen, Thomas Arsvag, Alexander Scaret, who the battle we're currently watching on screen. Anderson and Sorensen, and then another big gap between 17th and 18th between Sorensen and Strand. So yeah, there's these big gaps already formed, and I wasn't expecting to be such large gaps as they currently are. So maybe, like I was saying earlier on, it might be that these back markers are playing into the whole realm of the race, because they're quite easy to. If you get a back marker who's trying to back out too much into a corner, you can actually be a lot slower, and that's where a lot of the time you can see there what we're saying about the exit. The Ferrari driver doing a perfect job there, just slowing down, just letting everybody go past him before entering out on track. So currently 37 minutes into this hour-long race, 23 minutes left of this. I mean, it's just flying by at the moment. But this battle out on track for P15 between Thomas, Alexander Scaret has managed to get past Thomas at the moment for P14th, and is now coming under pressure here from Mats Gaspard Andersen for in P16. So certainly going the wrong way down the field. Currently even Stevens for Thomas at the moment, started 15th and currently in 15th, but under a lot of pressure from Mats here in 16th, coming down here the corkscrew, just trying to get alongside him, just trying to put Thomas off a little bit, managing to get the move done around the outside there. Great move around turn number 9, the rainy curve. We've seen so many cars get it slightly wrong there, but Matt's a great passing move there on Thomas going into turn number 9. So Thomas just lost 2 positions in that last lap. Now Matt will be trying to chase down Alexander Scaret. A little bit of a gap as produced, as you can see on screen at the moment, so it does have a little bit of ground to make up. But back up into 10th place, we've got Mets Enstrom back in 10th place, having a lot of pressure from Odin Miravang in 11th place. So these two having a decent battle, and I think Miravang wants to get past them to try and get onto the back of his teammates' train that's currently going on for P5, 6th and 7th from the RPC esports team. Just trying to get that photo finish, Le Mans style finish coming into the last lap, I'd imagine, on their minds, because certainly at the moment the top 3 almost seems secure, and hopefully I haven't just commentator cursed them, but I mean a 12.7 second gap, and that gap between third and fourth is only going one way, and that is up. It was 10.1 seconds when they came out of the pit stop. It's now 12.7 seconds out on track. But we look back up the field to Roger Christensen in P5, still has his teammates for rear gunner, all three of them the Lamborghinis from the RPC esports team in flying unison. It's like watching the Red Arrows, really, isn't it? The formation driving that these three have. I mean, I know these guys quite intimately, shall I say, through the Porsche Cup that we did a few seasons that all three of these drivers raced in, and certainly Roger, Thomas Wangen and Goddestad were always there at the front in there. So good to see him branching out away from the Porsche Cup into the Lamborghini, so going to the Italian manufacturer there, and it is a exceptionally good looking car, and you know, just a useless bit of trivia. I actually got the Lamborghini Lego kit for Christmas, so I'm busy in the throw of building my own Lamborghini. So yeah, it's not as easy as it looks, these Lego makeups, for sure. But back to the action out on track, and Roger's literally, I just don't think he can do anything. He knows that he's not going to do it, so literally just going around making up. Yeah, just keeping it nice and clean with his teammates around him, having a little bit of fun on this Christmas special brought to you by Racinglab Esports. But looking further down, another sort of battle ensuing here. We got Mikael Gustafsson in P19th. You got Matt Strand in front, P18th. Currently have a decent battle out on track, and then Sorensen in P17th. And then, like I said, there's a huge jump, 27 seconds between him and Thomas Sarsvag for 16th. So it's all about pride, these little mini battles throughout the field. As we got another pit stop. Who's that? Ketil Nicholson's managed to go in the pits. He's certainly not had the best of luck. This is his third pit stop or third visit to the pit stop, so getting very intimate there. Is Ketil Larsen Strankler in 34th position. I'm pretty sure he probably go a little bit further back than that. So just coming into the last 18 minutes of this race, 31 laps done. The current lap at the front of the field is 6.4 seconds. I mean, just able to pull away out. I mean, I've always wondered how these drivers are able to get these times that they're getting. I mean, you're looking at the fastest lap is a 1:20.96, and then he just goes ahead and puts another fast lap in. His last lap 1:21.4, 4/10 of a second ahead of second place. It's just able to stretch this lead out. You can see there the fastest times on screen. I mean, it's just amazing. About 4/10. Oh, we don't want that. Lose that car number 28 there, getting first place into a bit of trouble. That's Simeon Livingston there, causing our front place runner, who certainly had time in the bag, but I'm pretty sure his heart was in his mouth there, because that can be a treacherous corner, certainly if you start taking the grass there. But Ollie managing to keep it under control, losing 2 seconds. What's 2 seconds between a 4.2 second lead, you know, at the moment. So it certainly feels that Stefan doesn't have the pace at the moment to keep up with Ollie in first place. So and it doesn't really look like either that Anders is sort of that bothered about closing down the gap to Stefan. Still around about 1.4 seconds the gap between second and third, and then you have that huge leap back to fourth place at the moment with Yara Tenen in fourth place, that was up in second but had that slight incident at the start of the race, and then had that incident coming down into corkscrew. That was a very good save, because he could have quite easily spun that car around, but certainly lost a few positions, and yeah, has managed to gain one position back. But I tell you what, Ollie, do you need to be pushing it this hard coming into the last 15 minutes of this race with all these back markers? And that's the problem with back markers, is certainly when you got a fast guy like Ollie who's trying to scythe his way through. He's trying to pick you off the racing line, but then you've almost got to be solely reliant on the drivers that you're overtaking to either stay on that racing line or be really obvious. And unfortunately, this probably twice now that he's almost got caught out by some of these rear markers, and that could put Stefan maybe in with a shot here. You can see the timing coming down slightly, although it is obviously due to the fact that Ollie is trying to circumnavigate all these rolling chicanes of the rear markers coming through. But a great race at the moment. Back out to 4.3, so there you go. So Stefan's just going through the same issues that Ollie had at the front of the field, and that gap goes back out to 4.3 seconds. But these two drivers are... Oh no, what's happened here? Anders Meyer in 12th place at the moment. He was in third place. So let's have a look at what happened here. Oh my word. That is a heavily damaged Ferrari there. Did he have damage? Let me just go back a bit if we could on that. Let's have a look a little bit further back if we can. But that is news there. The top, our third place driver of Anders Meyer losing out now, and that promotes Jari Tenen to third place. Probably was not expecting that. That is just before then, isn't it? That he looks like he's... Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's have a look at it. Does he hit the grass on the outside, or does he clip the back end? What happens here? Oh, he just goes into the side of the Ferrari, goes into the wall. That's what we're saying about trying to overtake. I mean, he had a 12-second gap. You know, do you really need to risk everything, which is what he has done now? I mean, must be, it's either that he felt really bad that he took the driver out, or that he had damage to his steering and put out. But whichever way you look at that, that's Anders Meyer's out of the top three now, currently down in P22nd on track, and that has just promoted Jari Tenen to third place overall. So I mean, but what that has done now is it's certainly racing. Oh, wait a minute. What's happened to Roger Christensen? He's down into P8 at the moment, so he's had an issue as well. But what this does do is makes this last spot of the podium a really good close hanger between Jari. Then you've got Goddestad, Thomas Wangen in 4th and 5th, not that far behind. Can sort of smell blood now that there's an opportunity to get that last third place. Still 12 minutes of this race to go, 35 laps down, and these back markers, like I said at the start, certainly playing their part in this race. Has sort of made it a little bit more interesting now. Them top three were out and away from the rest of the field, but that has all changed in the space of 2 laps now. We have got Jari Tenen in third place, Joel Goddestad in 4th, Thomas Wangen in 5th, and these two teammates can really start working together to close that gap and try and pick the opportunity to try and make that passing move on. Jari Tenen in third place, so certainly going to make it interesting for these last 11 minutes, and let's have a look. Did Roger what? He's got damage, so he's sort of had an incident somewhere out on track, which has really put pay to him, because it was an RPC Esports train with him leading out 5th, and then Joe and Thomas Wangen behind. So it's yeah, it's some of the top drivers here falling away slightly. Another back marker causing... it's so easy to, on these shorter tracks, these smaller tracks, it's only a 1 minute 20 lap. You know, 1 minute 21 for us mere mortals, 1 minute 22s. It's in an hour-long race. By this stage, I mean, can you just throw the map up there, Lewis, and then we can just see the cars, and you can just see where they are all on track and just how messed up it is. Like a deck of cars that's just been shuffled. I'm sure they're not coming up. Just frantically trying to find the map button. Just caught him out on the hop there. But you can sort of see there all the numbers entwined. It's not like a nice. You can see one there just coming down the corkscrew. Then he's got 14th. So 2 cars in front of him. Then he's got a little bit of a gap, and then another 2 cars in front. So there's just this constant stream of back markers. Now you can see the grey colours, which are the top 10 cars. You know how they are embroiled in all these back marker battles now, and this is what has really put paid to this race. Now, you know, you've got this battle, this hot battle for third place between Jarl Townsend, Joe Vera-Goddestad and Thomas Vangen. That wasn't even there about 4 laps ago, but these back markers and the drivers in front of and who's is really pushing it to the limit, but that has put Joe just an option to get right onto the tail of that Lamborghini. There's no advantage on car difference, so that there is different setups that these drivers will be, but the characteristics of the car will be exactly the same. So it's going to be down to that opportunity moment where Joe Vera-Goddestad can make that opportunity. I think Thomas Vangen has sort of let his teammate have that glory at the moment and try and fight it out for that third place. But Jarl at the moment is really pushing it to the limits, and he just needs to be slightly careful. You know, this track can certainly bite back. This corner that is coming up now, if we get this slightly wrong, take too much of the inside curb, as you can see that red sausage curb, you know, if you hit that and you've thrown out wide on this corner, you can easily lose that. And looking down here and see how much they are. I mean, he goes right out. There it is. There it is. He literally got it wrong. Coming out at turn number 6 up to the Rainer Straight. Lost it there. Joe Vera-Goddestad has taken over third place, but it's still not over yet. Only half a second behind is Jarl, but he will be seeing himself for making such a silly mistake coming up there and just literally handing the opportunity to Goddestad in third place. I mean, he's got 9 minutes, so it's still around about 6 or 7 laps, 8 laps probably in this of opportunity for Jarl. But Thomas Vangen will be trying his best to help his teammate out as well, because you know, if you've got a teammate behind you, you know he's not going to try and make that optimistic yeet up into a corner. But Jarl will have none of that teammate loyalty between himself and Joe Vera-Goddestad to make that opportunity. So if he gets a little sniff, and if Joe gives him that opportunity, he will take it with both hands. But you can see how much he's trying now. He's literally taking the whole track and some. And I think all Joe needs to do at the moment is just keep it nice and clean. Just keep his lines, because at the moment, Jarl is really pushing the pace as much as he can to close down that gap. Probably still seething from the mistake he ran around this exact corner coming up this, and does that one a lot better. Didn't take so much of the outside dust going up there, but certainly the game on between these two now. So it's a little bit of a role reversal as we join the ball. Oh, as it comes down, a great exit there coming down on the corkscrew. He's not thinking about the altitude, but could have the overspeed here coming into the second to last corner. Looks on the inside. Is he going to make it stick, or is it going to be contact? I think it's going to be contact. There is Thomas Wangen coming through to take third place. So he says, thank you very much, guys. I will take that. And that was another RPC that's in front of Jarl. Can we get another view of that, see what happened? I think it's just the fact that Jarl just came around that corner and unfortunately was trying to carry too much speed, and contact was made between himself and Joe into that. So we're looking on board here. Really great run out the corkscrew that Jarl managed to get. Just looking on his inside, got that opportunity to get that inside line, dive down the inside, had the run in. Oh, well, got it slightly wrong. He literally lost it mid-corner and unfortunately slipped into Joe, and Thomas was just like, well, I'm just sitting at the back here just watching the fight. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm in third place now. What happened there? But so easy, certainly with these cars being this close together. I mean, what a great battle between these three at the moment. Two teammates followed by the black Lambo in between them at the moment. And Jarl will be trying everything to get that position back from Joe Vera-Goddestad. In fact, Thomas Wangen now, he's trying to fight with, so just managed to dispatch his one RPC teammates and gets another one in front, so 2 for 1 there for them. But Looking at further out in front, Steinbracken, just to give you a rundown, 7.8 seconds ahead of Stefan Hedvig in second place. So these two pretty much secure as long as they keep it nice and clear. They don't need to be risking it that much with the rear markers. They can just leave that opportunity. You can see the gap there between Stefan and Thomas in third place, 21 seconds. So certainly not under any risk coming into the final 5 minutes of this race. And then you've got that heated battle for third place that we'll come back to very shortly. Just looking further down the field, Saverson in seventh place does have Roger Christensen behind him for a little bit of late action going on. Then further back, Alexander Scarrett does have Anderson behind him, so that battle's been sort of ensuing for around about 4 or 5 laps at the moment between these two. And then looking further down, there's no battle really close out on track apart from 21st to 22nd Loscombe with Torvid Anderson. These two is probably the other close battle out on track at the moment for 21st position. But let's go right back to P3 at the moment, and Thomas Wangen still holding on. Jarl Tunnen in 4th place. Joe Van Goddestad just trying to close down that gap, but sort of taking role reversal between himself and Thomas, just holding off and letting Thomas have seeing what he can do out front at the moment. Seems to be getting a little bit of a gap, half a second just going up to, but here we go again. We do have some back markers in front of Thomas, and coming into the treacherous part of the track as well, going around turn number 2, turn 3 and 4 as we join on board with Thomas Wangen here. Coming around turn number 3, what are the 2 back markers in front? That's nice from the Audi, just moving right off the racing line, and just has the Ferrari in front. Does take that corner a little bit hard on the inside, and this is probably going to be the worst place that Thomas could actually catch up with this car in front, because nowhere to go at this. But the Ferrari just managed to leave over on the inside, coming from the task. Yes, I think Goddestad managed to get through as well. So great work there from the Audi and the Ferrari driver, just getting out of the way of what is an epic battle at the moment for the last place on the podium and the last prize position of that 500 Chrome gift card from Racinglab to spend on their web store. So all to play for here. I mean, we're down to the last last 3 minutes of this race, so two laps more, possibly 3, depending how quickly they go around. But Thomas will be probably wishing it is only 2 laps, but you can see a very poorly beaten up McLaren there coming over the start finish line. Probably not the best day at the office for any of the McLarens. Highest place is P29, and that is Oddvid Arneson of West Racing Norway. But Thomas Wangen at the moment still trying to hold out this 3rd place, but coming under increasing pressure here from Jarl Tunnen. Does have the opportunity of that slipstream, but this track is notoriously difficult to make that passing opportunity count. You know, certainly if the guy in front of you is being super defensive and taking the inside lines on the majority of the corners, because that's really where you can try and get the moves done around this track. But at the moment, Thomas is holding off Jarl for that last 3rd place out on track and the last podium positions. I mean, it's been an epic battle. Jarl will be kicking himself if it does. He started up in, I think it was 2nd or 3rd at the start of this race, had a slight incident, got himself back up there, was a bit fortunate with an incident further up the field. I forgot who it was now, Anders Meyer, and he's in 32nd position now, coming with Croc with a back mark, getting into 3rd place, and then getting it slightly wrong coming out of turn number 6 up the Rennie Straight, and handing the position to Over Goddestad, and then coming back at him round turn number 10. Unfortunately, contact, lost it a little bit coming on the apex of the corner, and unfortunately hit into Jover Goddestad, and then that gave Thomas Wangen the opportunity to go through. So at the moment, it's all been Jarl been in the battles, and the RPC drivers have just been like tag teaming to be in front of Jarl at the moment. But he's certainly putting a little bit of a show on here. Currently into the last minute of this race, so might be just one more. I haven't seen the white flag come out. I don't know if you have, Lewis, of our first race. Where is pole position? He's coming over the start finish, so we'll have one match. So this is the final lap here. So Thomas Wenger does have another lap. You can see the timing there, 0.3 of a second between himself and Jarl. It is super close. One more lap, so does have another lap, but Thomas has another lap to sort of defend out. Watch him go super defensive on the inside line here into the last corner just to close off that gap here. Another back marker gets right out the way as we got a last lap showdown between these two. Literally Thomas taking that inside line just not to open it up for Jarl to get it. So Jarl's going to have to do it the hard way, going around the outside. Thomas gets that inside lap here, just managing to close the door, doing a perfect job of just swinging that ride and neutralising that speed like we were saying before. And Jarl had nowhere to go there as they come around here into turn number 3 and 4. At the moment, Thomas seems to have the answers, but Jarl is just looking for that one opportunity, that one little opportunity to get his nose up the inside here of Thomas to get that third place lap. I mean, what a final showdown here. An hour's bit of epic racing coming down to the final few corners here for the final place offs. And then we look at the front, but an imperious drive from Ollie Steinbracken, 9.8 seconds, takes the win here. 10 seconds ahead of second place. Stefan Hervik who's just coming around the last corner there to take second place, and another 500 krone gift card. But we're joined back here. Frantic last couple of corners at the moment. Thomas Wangen still managing to keep it. He just needs to be hooking the inside here. Jarl just look at inside, outside, and Jarl gets on the inside. Has he done it? Oh, there's contact here between the two. That was a bit of an optimistic move. Jarl just managed to get the move done. Thomas Wangen is completely not happy at the moment, and I don't know if there'd be a bit of a steward's inquiry there, but that was probably an optimistic move. Certainly gave him the opportunity to get that in. So I was wondering if we could just have another look at that one as we watch some of the other drivers coming here. Hersong coming over for 5th. So let's have a look here. Coming around the final, second to last corner here. Thomas looking on the inside, trying to defend. Jarl on the outside, then dives down the inside. Thomas didn't react, left him a space, tried to turn it into the corner, and unfortunately Jarl just carried too much speed into there. There's no way he was making that apex there, and unfortunately almost like barged his way through. And as you can see there, Thomas not too happy, flashing the lights from maybe a little bit of an unorthodox move, but I'm pretty sure that'll be left down to the sponsors. But wow, what a great finish there to this race. It did seem like midway it was going to be a little bit subdued towards into the end, but a couple of drivers getting caught up with back markers through the race open for that third place. And wow, I mean, give us a last 15-minute grandstand between 3 drivers, but Jarl was really wanting to make sure that he actually got that position secured. Maybe a little bit unorthodox, but at the moment, in the unofficial, he does take that. So let's take you through the results here. So Ole Steinberg, 10 seconds ahead of Stefan Helvig, managing to win this esports, the Racelab esports Christmas special. And going with that is a 1,000 krone gift card to spend at Racelabs. In second place, Stefan Helvig, another pretty solid race for the RSR by G Performance team driver there, 10 seconds behind first place and 22 seconds ahead of the fight. What was the Battle of the Ages on track for third. Jarl 10 at the moment, just managing to secure that. Thomas Wangen in 4th and Joe Varad Goddestad in 5th. But what an epic race between them 3 drivers. Carl Frederick Hersong in 6th. Roger Christensen, after a slight little mistake earlier on, coming back to P7. Kim Saverson in 8th. Oscar Biskun in 9th. Odvin Miravang in 10th. Alexander Skret in 11th. Mads Kasper Andersen in 12th. Kjell Jarlsen in 13th. Thomas Asfag in 14th. Lasse Sorensen in 15th, Mikael Gustafsson in 16th, Sten Stanley in 17th, Gordon Haig in P18th. In P19th, Maz Gerstrup back and 2 laps down from the leader here, so still in with a shout, all these drivers for that Monza R5 race set. For these drivers in P20th, Ollie Sturstrong in 21st, Orvin Aronson in 21st, Eric Rossoff in 22nd, Stan Losken in 23rd, 24th, Christian Terveston in 25th, Simeon Livingston, Arno Finette in 26th, Mad Strand in 27th, and Simeon Brotham in 28th, 4 laps down. So our last driver that's going to be in the role there is Oddving Arison, 5 laps down, P29th after this. Unfortunately, after the 6-lap limit for being in the race for them, that R5 set from Monza. So we have Ben Oddving Anders Meyer after his epic P2, I think he was in P2, P3, and unfortunately his slight incident with a back marker put him down there in P32 and decided to call it a day. Hans Linso in 33rd, Jochen Wagent in 34th, Klaus Nicken in 35th, Tobias Fotzvoll in 36th, Erdling Bommer in 37th, and Martin Mikkelsen in 38th. Kenneth Palstrom after his early exit, 43 laps, and Fredrik Formussen 44 laps down. So Luis Aurora there, decided to not take the field and do his production's job instead. So yeah, I mean, what an excellent race. I mean, it was just great out on track. Yeah, let's have a look. I'm just gonna see who we've got in there. Who have we got? Ollie Strong, we have our first place driver. I mean, pretty much for you, Ollie, it was an easy day at the office. A couple of incidents we saw later on in the back markers, giving you a little bit of heart step roll, but you seem to have that race pretty well secured.
Yeah, pace looked really nice, and I felt I had good control during the race. There was, of course, quite a few incidents that almost took me out, but it was a good one and managed to bring it home safe.
So it's great. I mean, you were probably the hot favourite coming into this, being over 9 KI rating on here, so certainly had that bullseye on your back. Did you feel the pressure coming into this race to perform? And obviously, with that added pressure of having the 1,000 krona gift card, probably was yours to lose. Did you feel that way, or did you feel a lot of pressure from the guys behind you trying to chase you down?
I mean, like, I usually say that Stefan Jelvik's home track is Laguna Seca because he's incredibly good there. And Jarl Tein as well from BS Competition, like, he is really, really quick. So, like, I knew that I had to work for it. And yeah, so I'm happy with the result. And I knew it would be tough because of the competition, but I feel like I managed it in a good way and yeah, brought it home.
Definitely is. I mean, obviously, we're in between Christmas and New Year. I mean, you must be a dedicated racer to be able to think, I've just had Christmas, eating loads of mince pies and whatever the delicacy of choice is over your neck of the woods, and then get on your rig to race and then go out and probably celebrate. But I suppose the added bonus to that, Ollie, is you've now got 1,000 krona gift card to spend on some sim racing goodies.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a nice gift card so I can buy myself a late Christmas gift. So that's really nice.
I suppose a man of your stature, what will you be looking at purchasing for that? I'd imagine you've already got a pretty decent rig that you're sat behind currently.
Yeah, actually, I basically completed my rig a few months ago, so I actually don't know what's left to buy. So, but yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure there's plenty of stuff there, but congratulations for your first race. You give us a little bit of a scare at the end with a couple of the back markers, but again, you were able to pull away from Stefan in second place. So congratulations on your first place, and yeah, you can start thinking about what you're going to spend your money on at the Racelab stores.
Thank you.
Cheers, Ollie. Thanks for joining us. So it looks like we do have our second place, Stefan, just standing by. Let's see if we can get Lewis to bring him in. Stefan, welcome to the booth. I won't try and say your second name because I probably butchered it enough this broadcast. But congratulations on your second place overall. Were you really trying to push Ollie, or did you just think, I want to secure this second place to get my 500 krone gift card?
Yeah, I mean, Ole is a fantastic driver. So but this track is very difficult with the kink and the corkscrew. So you just really have to go safe. So I just went safe and didn't try to overpush and maybe have an incident. And also you had to be very careful and lucky with the traffic to get anywhere. I had quite a few moments myself, as Ole did too. Yeah, it was just more of a race on luck.
Yeah, just take us through that. Obviously, the GT3 is probably not one renowned for Laguna Seca. What was it like? I mean, you sort of touched on it there, with the fact of the amount of back markers you had to try and get past, and what was going through your mind when you were like 20 odd seconds ahead of third place and thinking, I just don't want to lose this? How were you approaching trying to pass the back markers?
Yeah, I mean, we caught some of those guys 4 laps. Like it's a lot of frustration because some of them do like they stress and they do some weird moves. So it's really stressful and like irritation going through my head there.
Well, you seem to have got it right, and unfortunately, Anders, who was battling with you, I thought that was going to be the battle of the day between yourself and Anders, but I thought Anders got caught up again with a back marker coming around turn number 4, and unfortunately got himself taken out of the race, and that really let you off the hook then. And after that moment, was you aware what happened to Anders, and did you then think once you knew you had it, you literally took your foot off the gas a little bit and to secure that second place?
Yeah, I was pushing quite hard when to try and pull a big gap. The back markers, it made it hard. I felt that Anders was very lucky with the back markers throughout the whole race, and that moment just made me, breathe a little lighter.
Yeah, definitely was. I mean, it was a great race. It started. That race had so many layers. The start was just everybody jostling for their positions, setting it up, and then we had the throw of the dices, which is the round of pit stops, and then after the pit stops, it just went haywire. You had people at the front that were spinning around, giving really up. I don't know if you're aware, and you'll probably watch it back. Is that the battle that ensued behind you for P3 was super close between Yari Thomas and Joe Verad. It was extremely close. So I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy watching that back. But pretty much glad that you were out on your own. I must have been a bit of a boring race for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, it couldn't have been boring because of the back markers. I mean, you had to constantly have focus and make sure you didn't do any mistakes. But yeah, it was a bit boring. It would be cool to have a nice fight with Anders towards the end, but this track is extremely hard to pass on. So I think I would have managed that if that was the case.
Definitely was. I mean, what are you going to look? I mean, imagine I asked Ollie the same question. Imagine you've got a pretty decent setup there that you're currently sat in front of. What are you going to look at spending your 500 krone on then?
I mean, we'll have to see. I'm looking for a like a H pattern shifter, so that might go towards that if they have that in store.
I'm sure they will have. And going back to the old school with the H pattern, eh?
Yeah, I'm doing GT5 racing in real life, so it would be nice to practice with that
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that's a H pattern.
Yeah, definitely is. But congratulations, Stefan, on your second place. Yeah, like you said, maybe a bit boring, but you've still got to be in it to win it, and you certainly was. And obviously, you still got that opportunity as well to win the Monza R5 bundle as well. So it could be a double bonanza Christmas outing for yourself, Stefan. But congratulations on your second place. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my parents who fund my racing career and sim racing, and also Ole, who we practiced a bit before the race, and also Sabelt Esports, which is my team.
Definitely as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Stefan, and you enjoy spending that 500 krone, mate.
Thank you.
So it looks like we don't have any more drivers standing by. A lot of them all probably taking a big, deep breath in what was a fast and frenetic hour-long race. I mean, like you saw there with Stefan saying, you know, although he was out, there was nobody he was fighting around. He still needed to keep his wits because such a short track, this Laguna Seca. And we saw on that track map how the field just got split up, and then you had a lot of back markers to try and to contend with, and then we had that epic race for third overall. Be interesting to find out what happens there, but at the moment Jarl literally got that third place on the last corner from Thomas Wangen from RPC Esports. So certainly Jarl had a big battle today with the RPC Esports team. But that's it from Laguna Seca. My name's been Andy Thompson, and obviously Lewis has been the production alongside me. And before we go, I'd just like to say to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Moza Racing and Racelab. Before we actually do wrap this up, it's always nice for these companies to lay on these sort of special events, these one-off events for us. So a big thank you goes to them for laying these off and giving the drivers some excellent prizes to go out. And even, you know, if the drivers weren't in the top echelon, they still have the opportunity to get that R5 bundle. So a big thank you again to Monza and Racelab. And from myself, I hope you have a great New Year. Stay safe. Enjoy them beers over there in Norway and get back racing very soon. But from myself, Andy Thompson again, and from Lewis in the production box, I bid you good night.